Dear students, in part 1 of unit 1, we had a discussion about the definition of MSMEs, old definition as well as new definition. At the same time, we had a discussion on the role of MSMEs in Indian economy, and snapshot was also presented in the part 1. Now, what contents to be covered in part 2 of unit 1? Problems of SMEs will be discussed here in the second part. Measures to overcome problems of MSMEs. So what are the various government measures taken by both central and state governments will be discussed in this session, as well as measures taken by government in promoting SMEs will also be discussed. Incentives provided to backward area development by government will also be discussed in this session. Now let us look at problems faced by MSME enterprises. So there are a plethora of problems faced by MSME sector in India. So these are the few highlights of problems. First one is first section is of external and internal problems faced by MSMEs. Licensing related problems, finance related problems, location of the unit related problems, raw material related problems, technology obsolescence related problems, marketing hurdles, managerial inefficiencies to the entrepreneurs, and faulty planning of entrepreneurs, lack of machinery and equipment to the entrepreneurs or MSME units, absence of adequate infrastructure, and competition from large scale industries and imported items. These are the important problems faced by MSMEs in India. Let us discuss each problem. Now let us look at problems faced by MSMEs in detail. External problems. First part is external problems, in which availability of infrastructure facilities. Infrastructure facilities in the sense availability of power, water, drainage system, roads, electricity and other resources. Lack of these facilities could adversely impact the growth of MSMEs in India. Second one is power and electricity supply. Continuous quality of supply is required to make uninterrupted production of goods and services. This is another big concern faced by micro, small and medium enterprises in India. Third one is availability of finance. Finance is lifeblood of any business. Unfortunately, most of the MSME entrepreneurs are from backward areas, or they are in lack of sufficient funds. So unavailability of timely credit is the biggest concern to these small entrepreneurs. For industrial regulations and financial regulations, delayed permissions, lengthy paperwork, bureaucratic norms of a regulatory framework adversely affecting the growth and establishment of MSMEs in India. Now let us look at various internal problems faced by MSMEs. First of all, feeble structure, which means inefficient structure of organization makes the MSMEs ineffective in producing goods and services. Faulty planning. There is a lapse of planning and implementation of plans which may affect adversely the existence of the MSME sector. Most of the micro, small and medium entrepreneurs are either illiterate or semi-literate. Poor management practices of these entrepreneurs make the organization a failure. Fourth one is lack of strategies. So for successful enterprises, it requires long-term and short-term strategies. So if there are no proper strategies used by the entrepreneur, it may end up in a different manner. Fifth one is labor problems. Unavailability of labor or high labor costs may adversely impact the MSME's growth. These are the few important internal problems faced by micro, small and medium enterprises. Obtaining licenses or licensing, in which there are four major aspects. First one is delay in obtaining licenses. Second one is bribes and other unofficial formalities are required. Third one is high fees for obtaining license, and fourth one is lack of awareness in obtaining licenses. Let us look at each one in brief. Delay in obtaining licenses. Generally, the turnaround time between the application time and as well as getting sanctions from various departments and authorities is as high as 2 to 3 months. So this time is very important for entrepreneurs to make other arrangements for establishment of the business. Second one is bribes and other unofficial formalities. To make the things in quick way, the entrepreneurs need to offer certain bribes to some authorities in bureaucratic system, which may adversely affect the cost of setting the enterprise. Third one is high fees for obtaining licensing. The fees for obtaining licensing may not be affordable to the micro, small and medium entrepreneurs, which again another hurdle in obtaining licenses. And fourth one is lack of awareness for entrepreneurs in obtaining licenses. Many entrepreneurs run the business without proper registration and licensing formalities. Due to lack of awareness, so these things happen. So these are the major concerns with respect to obtaining license for micro, small and medium enterprises. Next one is financing. As we discussed earlier, finance is lifeblood of any business. So these entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs face a lot of problems in getting finance because of the following reasons. First one is lack of collateral. Second one is rejection from banks and financial institutions. Third one is high interest rates. Fourth one is delay in sanctions and disbursals. And last but not least is lack of information on availability of finance. Let us look at each one in detail. First one is lack of collaterals. Small entrepreneurs who want to start either micro enterprise or small enterprise may not have sufficient collaterals to take loan from banks and other financial institutions. Non-collateral loans are very much required to encourage these small entrepreneurs. Second one is a rejection from banks and financial institutions. Without proper collaterals or without proper documentation, banks and financial institutions outrightly reject the loan applications of the small entrepreneurs, which is another biggest hurdle for them. And third one is high interest rates. When compared to MNCs and large scale industries, the interest rates of small and medium enterprises is high, which may affect the overall cost of production in huge manner. Next one is delay in sanctions and disbursals. There is high time in sanctions and disbursal of loans. These delayed disbursements adversely affect the overall prospects of micro, small and medium enterprises. Lack of information on availability of finance. Most of the entrepreneurs do not know the right channel to get finance for their business. This is again another hurdle for them. And next one is location of the unit, in which there are various aspects to be covered. First one is transportation facilities to the location. There is a place constraint in setting up business for small and medium enterprises. So transportation facilities to the location of the unit is a big hurdle. Second one is infrastructural facilities. As discussed earlier, so drainage system, power and electricity, roads, transportation facility for raw material, marketing related aspects and go downs and other things. These infrastructure facilities are very much required to make the business successful. Third one is availability of raw material in the location. So small entrepreneurs may not know the network of the vendors. So obviously they are dependent on either one or two vendors which may be located far from the location. This is again increases the transportation cost of the business, so that it affects the overall cost of production. And fourth one is availability of labor. These small entrepreneurs may not get the talented workforce to their business. So again this may turn up as another hurdle for them. And next one is power supply. Continuous uninterrupted power supply is required to make the products, goods and services available to the customers. This is another big hurdle faced by MSMEs in India right now. Next major concern is raw materials. Lack of availability of raw material, high cost of raw material, concentration risk, poor quality of raw material, lapses in communication and transportation in obtaining raw materials, storage costs. These are the various aspects to be covered in raw material section. First one is lack of availability of raw material. Continuous availability of raw material is very much required to utilize 100% capacity. The lack of availability of raw material in certain stages or some seasons may adversely affect the overall cost of the production and as well as the prospects of the business. High cost of raw material. So the network of small and medium entrepreneurs is very small. So obviously they may not know all the vendors and they cannot bargain hugely for getting raw materials. Scale of economies is also small when compared to large and multinational corporations. It adversely affect the cost of the products and services. Third one is concentration risk. Generally entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs are dependent on either one or two vendors. If they increases the price or these vendors increase price or they may not supply it properly to the enterprise, obviously it affects the overall production system of the enterprise. poor quality of raw materials. As entrepreneurs are getting materials from one or two vendors, the quality of supply of these vendors may affect the entire quality of the products and services offered by micro, small and medium enterprises. Then lapses in communication and transportation in obtaining raw material. The supplier may be from distant place, so transportation cost may be increased for the enterprise, and it affects the pricing policy of the enterprise. Next one is storage cost. If they get huge materials, storage will be another hurdle. They need huge godowns to store all this material, and there may be some wear and tear in the material process. They need to maintain it properly, otherwise the entire materials will be wasted. So these are the major aspects in raw material section. Next one is options in adapting latest technology. Technological advancement may effectively work to produce right quantity of products and right quality of products, but these small entrepreneurs may not adapt high technological advancements due to lack of various funds and other reasons. First one is lack of knowledge in adaptation of technology. They may not be aware at all about the latest technology available in the field, because most of the entrepreneurs follow a traditional method of manufacturing of products. They may not be aware of these latest technological advancements in the field. That is one of the problems. And next one is lack of funds in obtaining latest technology. Even though they may be aware of the technology, but the technology may not be affordable to small and medium enterprises, which is another big concern. Third one is impact of technological obsolescence on quality of products. So most of the entrepreneurs use obsolescence technology or outdated technology, which may produce inferior quality of products, which may not be attracted by the customers. Now let us look at marketing related issues faced by small and medium enterprises. First one is lack of standardization of the product. Second one is poor designing of the product. Third one is poor quality of the products. Fourth one is lack of research and development unit. And fifth one is lack of quality control. And sixth one is poor bargaining power of the small entrepreneurs. So let us look at each element one by one. First one is lack of standardization of the product. Generally, small and medium enterprises do not have separate marketing wing to look after all the R&D activities, quality control activities, thorough checking of quality of the material, and designing of the product, as well as bargaining power with the customers and vendors as well. These kind of things may affect adversely when it comes to the marketing strategies of the small and medium enterprises. So standardization means continuous consistent quality in products and services is required to attract customers. This may be one of the lag areas of small and medium enterprises. There is a lack of consistency in the products and services, so which is impacting adversely the prospects of the enterprises. The same things will apply for poor designing of the products and services, poor quality of products, and lack of consistency in quality of products. So lacking of research and development unit in the organization, because the size is very small, they may not afford to maintain a separate department called research and development. And lack of quality control. There must be some random checks to assure the customers about the quality of the products, which may be a lag area in micro, small and medium enterprises. Poor bargaining power of these entrepreneurs may result adversely on profitability of the organizations, because generally customers bargain at high discount rates. So these small entrepreneurs cannot maintain bulk of reserves. So obviously they just want to move the title from the enterprise to the customers. So in that process they may lose the profitability. Let us look at the section managerial inefficiencies, which lack of knowledge in various areas of management, like management of finance, inventory management, budgeting, marketing, accounting and manpower management. These are the general areas of managerial efficiency category, and these small entrepreneurs may be weak in these areas. First one is managing of finance, in the sense we must understand cost of capital, cost of debt, overall cost of capital must be known by the entrepreneurs, and as well as the various projects to be identified, out of which the highest profitable generated project may be employed by using various capital budgeting techniques. This may be a lag area for most of the small and medium enterprises. Inventory management plays a huge role in minimizing cost of inventory, where we can apply the EVOQ method, XYZ technique, ABC analysis, and various managerial techniques, inventory management techniques are available. Most of the entrepreneurs may not be aware of these techniques. When it comes to budgeting, there are various types of budgets. So we can categorize budgets based on time as long-term budgets and short-term budgets, as well as functional budgets, master budget. In functional budgets, there are various categories like cash budget, sales budget, production cost budget, labor budget. So various budgeting techniques are there, and there is an advanced concept called zero-based budgeting. So entrepreneurs can apply these budgeting techniques so to make the controlling systems even more stringent, and cost controlling is possible through these techniques. And most of the small and medium entrepreneurs may not be aware of these budgeting techniques, which can adversely affect the overall growth of the organization. When it comes to marketing, so there are various marketing mix elements like product, price, place, and promotion. Right blend of these 4 elements is required to make the product or service successful. If the enterprise's service concern, 3 more P's are added like people, physical evidence, and process. So these 7 P's or 4 P's so work together to make the business successful. This lack of these marketing techniques may adversely affect the enterprise. And next one is accounting and manpower management. This manpower management, in the sense either personal department or human resource department, must work effectively to make the business successful, and this is another lag area where most of the entrepreneurs missed out these managerial efficiency parameters. Faulty planning. Faulty planning may be in different ways. So first one is no proper viability studies, inadequate appraisal of a project, no proper technical studies, and no proper economic studies. Due to these reasons, planning of the entrepreneurs may be failed. So in a statistical study, it is revealed that more than 75% of the units are failed in 1 year in India. So this is the success rate of micro, small, and medium enterprises in Indian context. So what are the deep reasons behind this failure? First one is there is a lag in planning and implementation session. So what you plan must be implemented properly, so with right kind of attitude and strategies. There is a mismatch in this planning and implementation with respect to the MSME management in India, which leads to a huge failure. Second one is inadequate appraisal of projects. Project appraisal is very strong on paper, but when it comes to the implementation, the various aspects would be, various dimensions will be changed in the project. Accordingly, it leads to the ultimate failure of the enterprise. And third one is no proper technical studies. So there is a weak technical study which may cause the overall organization failure. And fourth one is no proper economic study, where there is a cost and demand analysis, concentration risk. So economic feasibility of the study are very much required. This is another lag area of the micro small enterprise management. Now, lack of machinery and equipment. This is also related to the technological advancement. So lack of machinery, in the sense most of the entrepreneurs are not affordable to use modern machinery and equipment. Due to that, the product quality may be inferior and may not be accepted by the market or consumers. And next one is usage of traditional machinery and procedures may be another kind of lag. Most of the entrepreneurs would like to use only traditional methods of manufacturing and rendering services. So due to the reason, they may lag behind the large sector and large scale industries and multinational corporations. Without proper or adequate infrastructure, it is not possible for any business to get success. So these are the various infrastructural lapses so we can find in MSM sector in India. These are lack of power supply, proper power supply, water supply, drainage system, transportation problems, and poor roads. Reach of raw material would be very difficult in the case of MSM location or micro, small and medium enterprises units. Even in industrial corridors also, there are various lapses in infrastructure facilities which may adversely affect the entire sector, which is contributing to 45% of the exports and overall 30%, above 30% of overall manufacturing output. This is a very sad and unfortunate situation. So to have poor infrastructure in even industrial corridors. Competition from large scale units and imported items is another big problem for micro, small and medium enterprises, as when compared to large scale industries, they are less competent, and imported items are much cheaper than the Indian products or products manufactured by micro, small and medium enterprises. Due to the high cost structure, less bargaining power of entrepreneurs, less availability of raw material, seasonal impacts, and other technological aspects determine the pricing strategies of the products and services which are manufactured by micro, small and medium enterprises. Due to these bottlenecks, micro, small and medium enterprises are facing huge problems with various aspects of the business. So far we discussed about the various problems faced by micro, small and medium enterprises in India, but governments are taking effective measures to promote MSMEs, and to tackle with these problems they are helping out MSME sector with both financial incentives and non-financial incentives. Let us discuss various measures taken by the government to promote micro, small and medium enterprises. Financial support through various institutions like Industrial Finance Corporation of India, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, Industrial Development Bank of India, Industrial Reconstruction Bank of India, Small Industrial Development Bank of India, nationalized banks and financial institutions. So all these institutions are meant to support MSME sector by providing non-collateral loans and subsidized investment support to micro, small and medium enterprises. So IFCI, ICICI, IDBI are started to help out MSME sector and industries, but they turned as commercial banks in later stages. And when it comes to technical support, to provide technical training to SMEs, the following institutions are offering their services throughout the country: Central Institute of Tools Design, CITD, National Institute of Design, NID, Product and Process Development Centers, Industrial and Technical Consultancy Organizations, Small Industrial Development Organization, SIDO. These are the few important firms which are offering technical kind of support to both entrepreneurs and workers in the micro, small and medium enterprises. Now, when it comes to the marketing support to SMEs, so there are as many as there were 1035 items were reserved especially for micro, small and medium enterprises, but later stages, due to the misuse of this opportunity, dereservation policy has come into the picture, and now there is no reservation at all for micro, small and medium enterprises. To replace it with the national competitiveness, government has introduced new kind of strategies to encourage micro, small and medium enterprises. For example, cluster development programs are initiated, industrial estates are formed, industrial corridors are set up by both central and state governments to encourage micro, small and medium enterprises. Subcontracting exchange, which means proper database of what kind of products are manufactured in each unit would be distributed to large scale industries, so that these small and medium enterprises can be ancillary units to the large scale sector or large enterprises or multinational corporations. Various trade centers are also opened to encourage the products and services offered by micro, small and medium enterprises. Both internal marketing techniques, exhibitions and seminars are also conducted to enhance the knowledge and skills of entrepreneurs, and a certain training would be provided periodically to strengthen entrepreneurship and micro, small and medium enterprise sector in India. Export assistance. So liberalized credit will be allowed to the export units of micro, small and medium enterprises. Along with that, cash incentives will also be provided to those units to encourage them. And third one is liberalized exchange rate management system will also be provided to them by the central government, and exemption in export licensing formalities will be given in the form of reimbursement, and export promotion capital goods scheme is especially meant for export oriented micro, small and medium enterprises. Now, income tax exemption will be provided for 100% export oriented units. Duty exemption scheme is also introduced to encourage export oriented units. Tax concessions will be allowed for those units for first 5 years after establishment of the unit. And last but not least is market development assistance will be provided abroad to these enterprises, so who are engaged in export orientation. And when it comes to the incentives to industries in backward and hill areas, there are generally Northeast Indian states have got privilege, so in this kind of schemes. But what kind of general subsidies will be provided or incentives will be provided will be discussed here. So first one is land exemption. So for lease and for rent, land will be provided at nominal rates, and if any industry want to register the land, the registration fee would be exempted, or stamp duty would be exempted. And next one is power exemption will be given to the units initially for 50% up to 50% power exemption can be availed by micro, small and medium enterprises. 50% concession on water charges for first 5 years after establishment of the unit will be provided, and sales tax exemption will also be there for first 5 years of the enterprise. And next one is octroi benefits will also be provided for initial stages of the establishment of the unit to get sustained in the business. And raw material, when it comes to raw material, preference for allotment of scarce raw material will be given to micro, small and medium enterprises. Finance subsidy is provided up to 10 to 15% subsidy will be provided, and interest rate concession will be allowed for micro, small and medium enterprises. And this subsidy will be up to 40% based on the category of whether it is a general category or backward category. Based on the entrepreneur status, the subsidy may vary from 10 to up to 40%. And marketing assistance will be provided by special firms like National Small Industrial Corporation, SIDO and other institutions. And next one is the tax holidays for 5 to 10 years tax holidays period will be allowed for micro, small and medium enterprises in backward areas, where for first 5 years or 10 years they need not to pay any tax to the authorities. And industrial estates will be offered. Industrial estates will be established to encourage micro, small and medium enterprises with all infrastructure facilities required to MSME sector. These are few incentives, important incentives provided by the government to encourage industries in backward and hill areas. With this, we have come to an end of unit number 1 of micro, small and medium enterprise management. If you have any doubts or clarifications required in these 2 sessions, you can ask me. We are ready to clarify all your doubts, and thank you so much for your patience listening. Thank you very much.